Darkcast Network. Indie pods with a dark side.
Welcome back to Castles and Cryptids, where the castles are haunted and the cryptids are cryptic as fuck. And we're your hosts, Alana and
Kelsey.
Throwing it to you. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, I just have to say my name. My
intros,
incense.
y'all?
My incense I just lit went out immediately. Why isn't it staying lit enough to do the little ash top?
In a dramatic fashion, like when they snuff out a candle when you're watching a horror movie, and everything's just like in the wind.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that time. It's glowing. It's glowing now. Oh, okay. I think it's good.
The ambiance is real. As you're like,
yes, in this fully lit room,
fully lit background, overhead light,
the light
down.
pouring into the windows, the light in the room, the light in the hallway on. It'd probably be pretty light in here even without the light on.
No, and you know what?
It's weird.
People on the West Coast,
not good.
Oh, yeah. Then it's just dim except for your window.
Yeah.
We're on the West Coast and we are like a little bit more north than sometimes I remember we are, even like from where I grew up too in Canada. So it's like, I'm like, damn, we're not like 30 days a night, but we're like gets to 9. What are we? We're almost 9 now and it's like still super bright out.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like Washington and those states might understand. Oh hell yeah. What are you into?
I have one of the growers peach. I almost said peach. The juicy Bartlett pear. Oh, I remembered I had a couple left in the fridge. It was like, ooh, I'm gonna have one of those today.
That's awesome. I'm also indulging in some growers.
Yeah, do you have the stone fruit?
No. That one, I like to get it when it's in the cans, but sometimes I'll buy the 2 liters, like a basic white bitch trying to get white girl wasted. No. And then it's like it comes in like the strawberry rhubarb and some of the other ones, which is what I have.
Yeah.
And then we have we also bought like a bunch of Mr. Pinks where they had not been in stores. They still are not in stores. Because like they didn't like distribution, they didn't have the stuff, and they didn't make a lot last year because they were like lacking some ingredients and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And then apparently they were like, well, postal strike, and so like nobody has any in their like stores yet. But then Pat was like, wait, I can order through this guy, because I like came home with one of their like
desperate
packs. So desperate, you guys. It's like a light raspberry hard cider, almost like fruity beer.
I think I've had it before, but I can't recall. I do not recall
how to describe it. It's light. It's like 6%. It's not like harder than a hard beer. But you ever had like a light fruity beer? Like it's got some hops in it, so it does taste a little bit like that. But then it, like, so it's not like a super sweet hard cider. But then it just like tastes like raspberries because it's just like made with.
I would like that.
Isn't raspberries. Yeah. Oh, Pat and I just like love it. And then I like brought home like a mix pack where I was like, look, Pat, I got like one Mr. Pink. And then it's a right, because it's a variety pack, so it has some of their other shit like there.
Save it for the end.
They have like your grapefruit rattler and like a hopped mead drink. And he's like, oh shit, yeah. I like to have enough though. And then so he like calls a guy, and like the other weekend he ordered like a 2-4 of them or something. He just like comes in the house. And Pat like doesn't drink
a
lot.
And that's funny because I was just gonna say Pat doesn't drink a lot, so for him to be like, I know a guy, I will find a guy, I will find a guy.
They won't put it to the stores, but I can get it to the house. Like, they literally shipped it to the house.
I can find that. You get you a man who knows how to find things.
Oh, if he wants it, yeah, he will get it. I feel like we're the same that way. We will try and make it happen, you know.
That's awesome. That's so funny.
Oh, it is so good that like I'm like Lay's with those. I'm like, bet you can't just drink just one. You're too good.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm so sorry that I'm like talking about this local liquor where people are like, but you can only get this in America. Like, you know, you listen to Wine and Crime and they like recommend a wine or something, and then they're like, it doesn't ship outside of the US. And I'm like, well, I probably wouldn't pay over $20 for a bottle of wine anyway, because I'm cheap.
Yeah, same.
I
like cannot do wine anymore. I get immediate sleepy. Like one glass and I'm toast. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it can depend. Red wine I'm not usually a fan of at all. It seems to give
these
me
ones it's been like rosés
headache.
and I'm like one glass and I'm just half asleep on the couch. But any other drink I'm fine. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder. Cause like even stuff that says it's made with like nothing, I'm like, you don't taste like a Mr. Pink or something that's like straight from the Fallen Timber meadery where you're like just made with mead. I don't know.
Yeah.
God, I'm such a snob.
These ones are pretty good. These ones I think are pretty good.
Yeah, no, that's a fairly local.
I don't. This doesn't have any. Oh, here we go. Ingredients: cider, natural flavor, and caramel. 100% BC apples.
No. Yeah, the growers are pretty good. I don't see anything on their list that are like fake color or anything a lot of the time.
No, and I like that they're still it must be the caramel or caramel. But they're sweet, but they're because it's not like
fancy.
Yeah, it's not like the White Claws and stuff that I've had that are just I don't know, so unsweetened and stuff. Like I need something a little bit sweet, like
exactly. It's nice that we have a balance nowadays between your old-fashioned like Mike's Hard Lemonade, Smirnoff Ice being your only like cooler options, and like now we have some good seltzers.
I 100% love the original Smirnoff Ice, and
I mean, yeah, I think I did at the time.
Oh no, I could still drink them.
Okay, yeah. There's like, they're pretty sweet though.
I would down. If you think that's sweet, have you ever had the Jack Daniel's Down Home Punch?
The fruit punch? Maybe. I've also definitely mixed Jack Daniel's like straight up with Kool-Aid. Don't recommend it.
Ooh, no.
No, I'm not like I'll cut myself off from drinking whiskey and stuff because that's the only time I've gotten like crazy drunk where people are like, you were mean, and I was like, I don't like that. I don't want to be a mean drunk. Like,
I don't think I've had a lot of whiskey, but when me and my friend used to go out drinking, we would start with spiced rum and cokes for like the first 4 drinks we would have normally, and then we would go to like a fruity sugar monstrosity, but we were always like, spiced rum and coke for the first few. So yeah, I used to have a lot more like rum and stuff, but I didn't really ever do like bourbon or whiskey or anything like that.
Yeah, sometimes rum's kind of a starter.
Yeah.
Like when you're getting into liquor and stuff. Because after, like, it does have a lot of sugar. So you gotta be careful.
Yeah. I like the spice rum and coke.
Hey, my friend Jill used to call herself, what is the captain? Is it Captain Morgan? And they're like, yeah, put your knee up. I'm Captain Morgan. What did she used to say? She was El Capitano. I don't know. I've heard some friends that had some different party personas, I guess we'll say. Oh, El Presidente. Yeah. That's what my friend Jill used to call herself when she got a little drunk. And then we have our friend Kelly, who's like, when she gets too drunk, then her alter ego comes out, and her name is Shaniqua.
Shaniqua, no.
Yes. Don't ask me why. She's not of Native American descent, if that's what it sounds like. I
Or a
believe she's
black girl.
Lebanese.
Okay.
Her persona has some attitude.
As long as she's not like the whitest person you know. And
No,
calling
no,
herself
no.
Shaniqua.
No,
Okay,
no, no,
that's
no.
good.
No, like I said, she's got some Lebanese descent. She's a cool girl.
Anyway.
Oh my god.
What are
I'm
we
so
talking
sorry.
about this week?
Who knows? We've been talking about drinks for 10 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Oh god, my bad.
We have some Eastern North American I almost said folklore. Cryptids.
Yeah, I'm calling it East Coast cryptids, straight up.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think you said you were kind of sticking to some that were in Canada, so I chose a couple that I found in the US.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like quite a few to choose from, which I'm like, it's so funny. There's some that talked about on other podcasts where I'm like, huh, how come we never talked about those where we mentioned them in passing? And then I'm like, oh yeah, we did a lot where it was like cryptids in the woods, and we maybe talked about like 4 or 5, and you're like, that doesn't give them the space they deserve.
I was originally gonna cover like 3 of them, but then after my notes got long enough with just 2, I was like, I'll save this other one for a different time.
Yeah, that's always nice. You can kind of adjust.
Yeah.
Depending on how many stories there are. Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
I want to know what the third one is. Also.
I can't say, because then people... Because if I'm going to cover it later on, then...
Wow. Tight-lipped. Mysterious. I like it. You're worse than Pat when we go, what are we watching? Or what'd you put on? He goes, a movie. And I'm like, you just have to be.
He doesn't say, hold on, I'll play the trailer for you. I always plays it.
Oh yeah, it's always not enough information or too much information. Just kidding.
I'm trying to be cryptic.
Exactly. Elusive.
Yeah, I'm trying to be one of these elusive cryptids.
He's always blurry when caught on camera.
Yeah, I'm a streak. I'm a fuzzy out of focus picture where everything behind me is in focus, but just me is out of focus.
Oh, and every time somebody makes up a fake girlfriend or boyfriend on TV, they're always Canadian, right? So who knows if any of us are really real?
Are we real? Who knows? Gordo, am I real? He's asleep. He can't weigh in. He's asleep.
Oh.
All right.
Oh my gosh. I'm so
this
excited.
First one is the Pukwudgie, which
I know this name.
Okay, I feel like we've maybe talked about it because it did seem vaguely familiar for some reason.
He's got the best name. I don't know if we have talked about him, and certainly not at any length, but like the name always sounds familiar to me too.
Yeah. The Pukwudgie has 2 different spellings. There's a G-I-E and then a J-I-E at the end. And then there's also another spelling. There's like the first one I read just had these alternate spellings, and then the other source I looked up had about 35 variations on the name. So I was like, oh, that's a lot. I'm only gonna cover these ones.
Yeah, it's like all the different tribes or whatever, I think. Maybe.
Yeah, because it is very like rooted in like Native American folklore, so there is a lot of different tribal names for it for different places.
That's what I thought. Okay, cool. I love his name, Pukwudgie.
Yeah, there's also the Pukwudgie.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Really?
And that one was translated by Henry Schoolcraft, which is a crazy last name. It was translated as Little Wild Man of the Woods That Vanishes.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, that sounds familiar. I didn't, yeah, I've
yeah.
heard about them, and then like we've done some research for this episode, so like I feel like that sounds familiar, and it's like
Yeah.
it's cute. I like that. Little man of the
Yeah.
woods, or yeah.
They're a human-like creature from Native American folklore that can be found in the states like Delaware, also Prince Edward Island here in Canada, as well as
Dang.
parts of
All over the East
Indiana and Massachusetts.
Coast.
Which every time I
No,
see the name, I'm like, how do I pronounce this?
they're massholes.
And they're similar to the European gnomes or fairies. So they're like
Mm.
um, little guys. They're normally between 2 and 3 feet tall, so about your knee height, and they're normally found uh, in the forests sometimes because they're believed to be spirits of the forest. And in some traditions, they have a sweet smell to them and are associated with
Oh,
flowers, which just painted the cutest
okay.
picture in my mind of like a little garden gnome holding a flower.
Up to
And I
their
was
big
like,
ass
oh,
bulbous nose. Yeah.
probably. They're
That's
probably wearing a red
funny.
hat.
Yeah,
And
I've like always
overalls.
heard of them, but I never heard that part.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cute.
Yeah.
According to legend, they can appear and disappear at will, and they are known to lure people to their deaths, as well as
Of
confuse people
course.
or make them forget things. Yeah,
Always the
that
tricksters,
scared
these
me.
little guys are.
Yeah, they were said to be most often quite tricksters, sometimes like vengeful, I'd say. Um, they use magic, they can launch poison arrows
Oh
and create
no.
fire.
Great.
Yeah. They're able to shapeshift, but most commonly they take the form of a creature that is said to look like a porcupine from the back and then look half troll, half human like from the front, and that they walk upright on like 2 legs still. So it's kind of like a
Very
gnome, but like
specific.
with porcupine back. Yeah. I was like,
I love the
interesting.
spikes. Yeah, that's definitely an addition that puts you
I
at a
was just
difference from the
picturing
other little guys.
Yeah, I was just picturing like a hedgehog as a garden gnome and then was like dying of cuteness. Just picturing that in my head. Going, oh my god.
Maybe he looks like the Sonic the Hedgehog, but they have to keep up appearances to make sure they sound badass.
Well, if it's got porcupine quills, those are pretty
Yeah.
badass. They're scary.
Oh yeah. The amount of times like our dog growing up, Lucy, got them in her face, and like we'd have to take her to the vet. And you'd be driving her
Oh,
there, and they're like sticking out of their poor snout, and they can't even put their snout on anything because it's just gonna drive them
I
deeper.
have some insane.
So
I wonder if I have it here. Oh, I do.
sad.
These
Going to the
are
gallery.
these are porcupine quills that my family brought back from Africa that are made into
What?
necklaces.
Oh God!
So,
Why are they so
yeah.
long?
Like they're crazy. These are all the good ones. They're like, yeah, like
Those look like Wolverine's claws.
7 or 8 inches. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this
That
is what I was
insane.
picturing. I was like, that's scary as shit.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if they have different porcupines in Africa. But yeah, these are so whenever I hear about porcupines, this is what I'm picturing in my head. These scary ass quills.
Literally never heard of African porcupines. I have no idea, but I would imagine everything's scarier there. And that is just like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, they use them to make those are like necklaces, so they like fan out across kind of like your chest, collarbone area.
Like
Yeah, very cool.
T'Challa, Black Panther.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One. Yeah, so they're like little porcupine gnome people. They're also known to kidnap people, push them off of cliffs, attack people with short knives and spears, and also use sand to blind people.
They
And
are dirty fighters.
they're dirty. Yeah, they fight dirty. They just whipping sand into your eyes.
With those like angry little leprechauns from The Simpsons. The fighting Irish. D-I-D-I-D-I. No, I don't know. It's just
The one source also said that they can simply harm people by just staring at them.
Oh God!
Which I thought was kind of creepy.
It's the leprechauns who stare at goats. No.
Yeah. Well, it said that they can use magic and stuff. So I was like, are they just using magic when they're staring at you? Or is it simply them staring at you harming you? Like, I was confused by that.
Don't love it.
Yeah. I did find some nice information. One of the sources had about specific different Native American tribes and their variations in what they believe. It just had overall believing that the Pukwudgies were once friendly to humans but have turned against them and just want to be left alone and that we should leave them alone.
Oh, yeah.
And they also
like most
had this
of nature.
story. Yeah, just leave them alone. It said that a person who once annoyed one was a victim of some nasty tricks and was followed home once by one who caused a bunch of trouble for them. It was like a little story about it.
Troublemaker.
Yeah, they're definitely like troublemakers, tricksters.
God, I love the trickster on Supernatural, though.
Yeah, it's always funny episodes. So the first one it had was Algonquin. I hope I'm pronouncing these right.
Yeah.
Algonquin believe they are similar to gnomes or fairies. And then in Abenaki and other Algonquin tribes, they are viewed to be dangerous, but only actually to people that disrespect them. So,
well, good for them. Keep your disrespect out of your mouth.
Right? So I guess if you respect them and leave them alone and everything, they shouldn't cause any problems for you.
I mean, this is just good advice, whether it's snakes or cryptids or whatever.
Yeah. For the Ojibwe and other Great Lakes tribes, they consider them to be more mischievous, but basically good-natured creatures who will play tricks on people, but they don't consider them to be quite as dangerous, kind of more mischievous than actually dangerous.
Yeah. Not gonna really do so much harm, I guess.
Yeah. The Wampanoag, they view them as capricious and dangerous creatures who may play harmless tricks or even help a human neighbor.
Well, that's nice.
And it said they're also just as likely to steal children or commit deadly acts of sabotage. So not great.
That's where you lost me.
Kind of a wild swing. They play harmless tricks or even help neighbors, but then they'll steal your children and commit deadly acts of sabotage.
Yeah, those are less on the mischievous side.
Right? I thought so.
Yeah. Not good, guys.
Yeah. This little blurb, this is the last thing I have about them. It was from Wikipedia, and it was a little story they had that I took from there, saying Pukwudgies are said to be the enemies of culture heroes, the giant Maushop and his wife Granny Squonk. One story from the Wampanoag folklore explains that they began causing mischief and tormenting the natives out of jealousy of the devotion and affection the natives had for Maushop, who eventually exiled them to different parts of North America. So I think that's why they're found in a number of different states and in Canada. Because they were exiled. And the Pukwudgies have since been hostile towards humans and took revenge by killing Mashop's 5 sons. And some variations of the tale even suggest that they killed Mashop himself. So I'm sure there's like longer versions of the actual stories, but it had like that little summary. So it is tied pretty deep in like the different Native American folklore, which I thought was interesting.
Yes. I always find that interesting too. If I run across an origin story like that one, I'm like, oh, that's fun. And yeah, that sounds familiar. I like that one. It's like, oh, that's how they ended up scattered. You guys are just like, fuck you guys.
Across the coast.
Yeah. They're like, humans are the worst. Let's just like get back at them.
Yeah, when like a giant is the one that exiled them. They're like, whoa, we can't go after him, so let's fuck with the humans.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I had on the Pukwudgie, which I thought was kind of cool. I didn't put any pictures of them on the drive. I'll try and find a picture for the website.
Yeah. I think I've come across one or two in this research. Like,
yeah,
Homespun Haints had a page about them. I was like, I know you. You're one of our
cute
like fellow podcasters that came about at the same time. Yeah, I was like, smart of you to do like a write-up, which means you come up like as the 4th like source when I looked up like Pukwudgie at one point.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah, super smart.
Ours I feel like should do that, our episodes, but because they aren't hidden from search results. I don't have that set. I have our source
words.
Like I have our source pages hidden from search results, so they don't come up unless you're like on that episode and like page on our website, and you click the link to the sources page.
Right, but if it's something that like most people haven't talked about, and like you're one of the only people that have covered it, if you at least put it in your topic
come up
description, then people will be drawn to that page, which is cool. Because we still need
I try to put
votes. No. Yeah.
Because like our pages, I put the episode description on the page, and then in the SEO thing, which is supposed to help people find it when they're just using like Google to search things. And then the episodes, I think, are also tagged, but the tagging might be more internal searching within our website to find like themes of our episodes.
Right.
Because I have like all the paranormal episodes tagged as paranormal, and all the true crime ones, and international true crimes or cryptids tagged.
But like the topics of each is also usually out there. Like the way the wine and crime would be like, it'll be on our blog, and their blog is basically just has like, their episodes and stuff. It's their website. It has their pictures, and ours is similar. Yeah. You did a great
it should
job
be
on
operating the same way. Thank you.
Yeah.
At this point, it's basically I have the templates for it that I just duplicate at this point, and then like fill in everything like with each episode's information. It still takes a while. Like
even
doesn't
though it's
take
just
as
like
long as when I was first doing it, but
it's just our audio like put up to YouTube, but like we'll see. Maybe once I get my little schedule rearranged this summer, and maybe I'll have more time off, and we might go to our little summer schedule with you guys so that we can make sure we keep putting out the good content we do, that maybe we can look into some fun stuff. Vague. Anyway.
So my second one is one I'm sure you've heard of. I'm sure you have. I hadn't, I don't think.
Okay. Just because I more listen to podcasts and stuff, you think I've heard of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is Indrid Cold, or the Smiling Man, or the Grinning Man. Any of those names ring a bell?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, the name does sound familiar. I can't lie. Not too sure, like,
yeah.
what it was though.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm more excited then. I was like, I'm sure Alana knows this. It's
I get it. Yeah, I'm the one who's like more maybe chronically online. I don't know. I don't know.
well, people also there's a theory that it's an alien. So I was like, oh, it's an alien. Alana probably knows about this one. But
Oh gosh, I do listen to a lot of podcasts, don't I? And then I think
yeah.
I just said that line more chronically online because one of the podcasters who always knows these podcast stories, like, well, I'm always online. And she says to her co host, Amanda, like, that's probably why you don't know it. It's like, no, sometimes you have to be in the deep, dark corners of the internet to find this shit.
Yeah.
It's not everywhere.
Doesn't just mean you're on TikTok, okay?
No, but we gotta get back on there. We're gonna film some videos this summer, Kelsey. Oh,
we will.
Yes. Yay.
We will. We're gonna try and do more things.
Yay. That's exciting.
Yeah, okay, so Indrid Cold, or the Smiling Man, or the Grinning Man, is an allegedly humanoid entity. This name, the Smiling Man, comes from its tendency to smile at almost everyone that encounters him. This like big grin on his face. But like,
maybe he met a man
Smile
that was
1
like,
and 2.
You should smile. And he took it to heart.
Is it Tyra Banks? Smile with your eyes. Smiles.
Oh god, it's so hard. It's so hard, you guys.
But it's like an unnatural, like creepy smile. Think like Smile 1 and 2, where it looks sinister. That's what he's doing.
Oh
Very
no.
creepy.
The smile.
Yeah, so just like over the top, really huge, looks like their face is gonna like break or something.
And their eyes are not smiling. It's the opposite of smiles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, so it's reported to be human-like, though he is often associated with UFO activity that's happening in the same area. They seem to like spike in the area when there's been an encounter, and because of this, many believe he is an alien and may be connected with the Men in Black.
Here come the Men in Black.
Yeah.
Damn. Like, because you don't usually want to be associated with the Men in Black. They're the...
No, like, I don't really have more information about the supposed connection, just that a couple things said that they were connected. I do have information about a couple of the sightings, though. The first sighting happened on October 16th, 1966. Long time ago. This was 2 boys named Martin Mouse Manov and James Jimmy Yanchitis. Oh no, I didn't look at their names before.
Were their initials like MMM and JJJ? Or wait. He had a different last name.
Well, I think the one guy went by Mouse and the other guy was Jimmy, so I don't know what their middle names are, but yeah, the one guy would be MMM and then JJY.
Or no. Or I guess Jimmy is James. Ugh, whatever. Yeah. I give up. Shut up, guys.
They saw him while they were in New Jersey. They were walking along 4th Street when they saw this man standing behind a wire, maybe like chain link fence or something, in a location that they believed would be inaccessible to anybody. And he's just like standing behind the fence. They said that he was over 6 feet tall, wearing a reflective green suit with a black belt.
Green suit, reflective, black
reflective, with a black belt. He had a dark complexion and small beady eyes that were set far apart. And creepy, boys said that he did not have a nose, ears, or hair, which is horrifying to me. I can't picture it. It's too creepy. I don't like second.
Yeah,
No
now I'm starting
nose,
to picture
no
weird
ears,
little.
no hair.
Yeah, are you like a little cartoon character?
Like an egg.
Caillou
It's an
is
egg.
one. Yeah, that came on
Oh,
where he had like a round head. I don't think Rain watched it,
yeah.
but I just knew he was that little French kid that almost like Stewie had almost like a watermelon head or something.
Yeah.
It's like,
I
what?
very much picture the like the watchers or whatever in
Oh yeah.
Fringe. They're just like there, just
Oh.
like witnessing it, kind of standing off to the side.
Oh
The
yeah, they present like
bald
men in black
heads.
that have no hair or something.
Yeah, kind of thing. Yeah.
Strange.
Um yeah. And the boy said he was standing there just staring at them with this really big grin. I don't know how this came about, but they said that he started chasing them and that they had to like run away from him, and he chased them for quite a while before they were able to escape,
Oh shit.
which I thought was really
Crazy.
creepy.
Yeah.
And apparently there was a bunch of reported UFO sightings around that time and in that same area, like while this was going on. So, oh, this was quotes from an interview they must have done saying, Jimmy nudged me and said, "Who's that guy standing behind you?" I looked around and there he was, behind that fence, just standing there. He pivoted around and looked right at us, and he grinned a big old grin.
No, thank
And then
you. Oh, my phone, sorry.
I think the little interview thing at the end said the boys only remembered the details about the man later on. And though many mentioned this sighting, injured cold, and the grinning man could be different entities, because later on there's like different stuff that occurs during different sightings that kind of contradicts this first one.
I suppose.
So,
but they don't have to be exactly the same.
yeah, right?
Yeah, wait, what? So weird.
The second one occurred, I think this is just a couple months later. Oh, not even a month later.
Ooh.
This is a few weeks later, on November 2nd, 1966, in Parkersburg, West Virginia. Around the same time sightings of the Mothman began.
Oh
No! Of the
no!
Mothman.
It's either West Virginia Mountain Mama or Mountain Mothman.
Yeah.
Was I do think of
Point
that song
Pleasant.
because of the Ocean's... it's not Ocean's 11. They joke that it's Ocean's 7-Eleven. It's the Logan Lucky movie.
Yeah.
It's a really good
Hey,
heist
but it's
movie.
the same director. It's the same director.
Oh shit, that's probably why I like it so much, and Pat really likes it too.
Yeah,
We've watched
I'm
it quite a few
positive it's
times.
the same director. I'm positive it's Steven Soderbergh.
Soderbergh? Oh, okay, yeah. God, I love the ones where they just all have their own little tasks and stuff. It's just my favorite when they're just a big group team, like Ocean's 11. Oh,
Yeah.
and we just watched one that had, you remember the guy who's like the antagonist in Ocean's 12? He's French, he's the better thief, he like gets through all the things, he's one step ahead of them the whole way. Yeah, we just watched a movie that had him in it as like the main guy, and oh god, it was called The Shrouds. And he did have a restaurant that had weird shadow box shrouds in it, and it did get a little weird. I don't know if I would recommend watching it with your teenage daughter because it got a little weirdly sexy. We were like, should we watch? Because this was the night where like we could watch Sinners, which is also out on like Xbox, or we could watch The Shrouds. And Rain was like, well, let's watch The Shrouds. And no, they liked Sinners much better. I'll just say that. The Shrouds was kind of weird. They were like,
I've only seen the Oceans movies like once each. I've seen Logan Lucky like 5 times, but
so good, right?
Yeah, the actual Oceans movies I've only seen once. I think like actually paying attention to them each.
Yeah, because there's
So,
not that much like to peel back watching them several times, really.
yeah.
But I still
Um,
love them.
yeah. And I confirmed it is the same director. He also did Contagion in 2011.
Oh, that was like the pandemic movie
Yeah.
that everyone watched.
Yeah.
Like with Matt Damon and
One with
Gwyneth Paltrow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Before she got weird
Dang.
with Goop. She got some weird Goop stuff going on. Anyway. Yeah.
I was
So
like, I
this
could go there, but yep. How about a candle that smells like your vagina or space? Who cares?
yeah.
Maybe she wasn't the space one, but I heard about that one. It was weird too.
Don't they say space would smell like oh no, space does smell like something. It's like burning hair or something really terrible.
Maybe something. I think space
Yeah.
stations smell a little dirtier because the people are inside them. That's my
Yeah.
guess. I don't want to think about it too hard
Um
though.
yeah. So the gentleman that encountered this
Okay.
entity or being was Woodrow Derenberger, who was a
Wait,
sewing
what?
machine salesman, and he was driving home on the interstate around 7:30 that day when he heard a crash, and suddenly an unidentifiable vehicle started landed in front of his truck while it was on the highway.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's just like driving along, kind of stops and
Yeah, and then he hears a crash coming from somewhere, and then once he comes to a stop, this vehicle lands in front of him. He
Weird.
described the vehicle as an old-fashioned kerosene lamp chimney, flared at both ends and narrowing down to a small neck, and then enlarging in a great bulge in the center. Maybe there's drawings of what that means, but made no sense to me. It's like, okay, cool.
A kerosene lamp
Chimney.
inside of a sort of vehicle? Yeah, that's throwing me off a little too.
I
It
don't
seems.
really know. Yeah, an old-fashioned kerosene lamp chimney, flared at both ends, narrowing down to a small neck and then enlarging in a great bulge in the center.
I mean,
Oh,
you
is it
don't.
just like the lamps that used to have the tube and then it went like that and then it just had the tube again and that's where the flame was? Is that all he's trying to say? I think so. A great bulge in the center, narrowing down to a small neck and then enlarging, flared at
Well,
both ends. I don't know.
they referred to some
There has
kind
to
of
be a
a
better way to
lamp or
describe that.
something. Yeah. Which,
Yeah,
I don't know.
there has to be a better way. Anyway, he said the grinning man got out of the vehicle and walked up to him and then telepathically told him that his name was Indrid Cold and that he meant him no harm.
Oh,
He
good.
also said that he was there because he just wanted to know more about the human race and that he would come back and visit Darren Berger again. After the encounter, Darren Berger stated that Cold said he was from the planet Lanulos in the oh my god, the Ganymedes galaxy.
Oh. I don't know if I've heard of this one.
I have no idea. So for the description, he said again he was about 6 feet tall with an olive complexion, and this time he had hair that was dark brown.
Alright,
This
that's pretty
time
normal.
his suit was yeah, but last time the boys said he had no hair and he had no nose or ears. So,
Yeah, that guy I don't know. This guy I'm like, okay, I probably slept with this type of guy. He's 6 foot tall, he's got brown hair. At least he's got a nose.
yeah, is he wearing a reflective blue suit? Tell us that.
Okay. Is he part of the Fantastic Four? No.
Yeah.
Don't get us started. Just kidding.
He was otherwise normal looking with slicked back hair. He had a coat on with the top 2 buttons undone, showing a little
Was
chest.
his collar popped?
That's what I thought too. I was like, ooh.
I just immediately pictured we've been watching a mini series starring Tom Hardy, and I was like, his collar is always fucking popped.
What show is it?
Mobland, where he's like a fixer for like a
Okay.
mob family, and Helen Mirren's in it, and yeah, it's a Guy
Okay.
Ritchie thing, yeah. And then
Okay.
because it's in London or whatever, well, most of it's in Britain, whatever. They showed the Millennium Dome, and I was like, that's from your other little series, Guy Ritchie. You did the nonfiction documentary on the robbing of the Millennium Dome, and I was like, I covered that, and it was fun to see the like thieves on tape. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so he's got the coat with the buttons undone, pants that were the
Right.
same material as the coat, but a bit of a lighter color. He was described as being quite tan, though not dark, and appeared just kind of like more of a normal human-looking being than what was seen the first time.
Okay, yeah. Kind of like the ones
Yeah.
that are. I was gonna say like the Nazi humans, but the ones that look like the Nordic race because they're described as like tall and like blonde, and I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I was thinking of. Sorry. Yes, I shouldn't have said the Nazi one. That was terrible. Not what I
meant. So apparently after, I think they might have still been speaking telepathically.
Okay.
I'm not too sure though, but after talking back and forth for about 10 minutes, Indrid Cold suggested that the Darren Berger guy like contact the local authorities, and then he returned to his vehicle and it like rose into the sky and left.
Oh fuck, he's just like, take it up with your police. Bye.
Yeah, right? It was like, that's a little weird.
Not my problem.
Darren
Sorry.
Apparently, he did contact and report the events to Parkland police after he got home, but then he ended up holding a press conference the next day and like answered questions to the press, which I was like, damn, like, can you imagine if I just wanted to hold a press conference? Like, how would I even do that? I didn't think normal people could just hold a fucking press conference.
Oh, because he is like, he's just like a normal guy? I forget.
Yeah, it said he was a sewing machine salesman. So, like, who is he? Why is he holding a press conference the next day?
I don't know,
thought it was
man.
wild.
That is weird.
Yeah. The last... there's been other sightings. This is, like, some of the bigger ones, though. Okay. The third... or the next sighting happened in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Yay!
Which just makes me think of where do they live in that 70s show? It's like it's something similar to that, but in Wisconsin. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Point Pleasant.
This is
no.
This is where Mothman is. Exactly. Last time it was like a city nearby, but this is actually Point Pleasant, when the Lilly family had apparently been reporting a poltergeist like activity occurring in their home. This one's pretty creepy. The daughter Linda was sleeping one night and woke up to find a man standing over her.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was like, no thanks, I'm gonna have nightmares.
A spirit?
Yeah, that's why this one's a little confusing too. She said, quote, "It was a man, a big man, very broad. I couldn't see his face very well, but I could see that he was grinning at me. He walked around the bed and stood right over me. I screamed again and hid under the covers, and when I looked again, he was gone." And that's really all the information I could find, other than like some people like kind of discredit this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Getting into some of the theories. Most commonly, as I said, is believed that Indrid Cold is an alien. This is supported by the UFO activity that seems to spike in its area. and is more consistent with Darren Berger's sighting. It is also said by Darren Berger that the grinning man is actually a species of aliens, because he says this is what Indrid Cold told him, that there's multiple others like him, one named Demo Hassan and one named Carl Ardo, back on its home planet.
Oh, those are their alien names.
Yeah, there's actually a picture of the one that is believed to be Demo Hassan. Yeah, there's actually a picture of it. I put it on the drive.
Oh shit. That's what I was
It's
trying to
captioned.
make sure I had my
Hold
pictures
on. Supposed image of Demo Hassan, photo taken by Alan Greenfield in 1969 at Congress of Scientific Ufologists in Charleston, West Virginia. And it's like a dude in a black shirt and blazer, black sunglasses, and a white hat.
Okay. Oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's like a supposed picture of the one.
Right.
Yeah. However, people have kind of discredited this, that they could be aliens, stating that it's pretty unlikely, unless the aliens were some sort of shape-shifting species, because it would be almost impossible for another race to have taken the exact same evolutionary path as like humans did, for them to be able to look so much like us unless they could shapeshift into us.
Oh, okay.
Which could also sort of explain why the first encounter, like, it didn't have a nose and ears and hair, and then the second one, maybe it did, because it had now encountered people or something.
Huh. This is hard for me to contemplate. I'm just like, we think there's like a missing link. We don't know what any of that looks like, but this is even weirder to comprehend.
According to the Lilly family encounter, which was the third one, that one kind of more so suggests that the entity may be a ghost or spirit of some kind, that could have been connected to the poltergeist activity they were experiencing, more so than just like aliens or something.
Yeah, was it the teenager? Yeah. They always blame it on the teenager energy. But yeah.
And then some believe that it was a normal human man or even a hoax. This is kind of believed because of the popularity and fear of the Mothman, who had been first sighted around the same time. So, like, they maybe saw, like, the popularity of the witnesses that, like, were reporting their sightings with Mothman, and then they were like, oh, let's report sightings of something, too, and we can get on the news or something.
I can't even imagine. He's like become so cutesy now with some of the Mothman renditions that I'm like, but he's not here to hurt you. He's here to help.
Indrid Cold said like they just wanted to learn more about people and that they would visit that guy again. So
okay.
There's maybe this is pronounced Tanya.
Okay.
Tanya Darren Berger. I don't know if this is like
T-A-N or T-O-N.
Taunia.
Oh my.
Yeah.
I guess that's my best guess as
Tanya.
well. Yeah.
Like,
Tanya.
No. Tanya.
Like, pretty sure I know a Tanya and a Sonia, but they were spelled with just a Y-A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, this might be that guy's daughter. She wrote a book apparently, and then in it she mentioned that Indrid Cold might also be known as Valiant Thor.
I love that guy's name. I've heard of him.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't know who he was. He apparently spent 3 years at the Pentagon.
I don't know either. I just know he's some alien dude, and I love his fucking name.
Yeah,
that's probably all I remember about him. Sorry, what?
From Wikipedia, it said Valiant Thor, who may have presented himself as Indrid Cold to the Darren Berger family, appeared at
Oh,
Howard Menger's UFO convention in High Bridge, New Jersey in 1957. And
damn.
publisher Gray Barker worked with Thor to convince several counties to approach authorities and publish books in an apparent attempt to influence public opinion on a variety of political issues. So that doesn't sound great.
Oh, sorry.
God, I'm really.
Uh, no, you got some background noise. Yeah, those ones are crazy. It's like, I wonder if, we hear abduction stories and UFO stories still, but like when they almost seem to like hit their peak, like was that not the 50s and stuff after like
Yeah,
Area
I think
51?
so.
It seems like there's a lot of stories from then, and I wonder if they realize our technology is like like catching up rapidly and they don't do it as much, or maybe they're more secretive about it now or something like that. Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
Makes me wonder though.
Yeah. But apparently, like Darren Berger, after he did that little news conference thing the next day after his encounter, that apparently sparked like a media frenzy. And the following afternoon at 4 p.m., the WTAP TV aired a 30-minute interview that they ended up doing with Darren Berger.
Okay.
And after that interview, other people claimed to have encountered a man of similar description, and local newspapers started running stories about the mysterious figure for like the next 3 weeks. And then, yeah, so it was like gaining traction in the news and stuff. And in later years, Darren Berger claimed to have taken multiple trips to Indrid Cold's home planet that he said was called Slanulos. And Darren Berger's story.
Russian. No. Slanislos.
The story continued to receive significant press coverage. And in 1970, Darren Berger's tale was further popularized by author John Keel in his book Strange Creatures from Time and Space. And
oh shit. Strange creatures indeed. No, it comes up like in the podcast circuit, and like I feel like the one like there's other stories like it where the lady I talked about had a alien like lover, and it's interesting because they're so dead set with it that I have to believe them, you know. Elizabeth Clare, that's the one I'm thinking about that I covered. She was from South Africa, and she had her little alien guy that was named Akon or whatever he was called. Yeah.
Not the singer.
Maybe that's where he got his name. But yeah.
I just have a little bit more. Keel revisited the Indrid Cold story in his 1975 book titled The Mothman Prophecies.
That one.
Yeah.
On which the movie is based loosely, I'm sure.
Yeah. And that book centered on reports of a huge winged creature known as the Mothman in West Virginia. And then a few years later, by 1979, the story of Darren Berger riding aboard a spaceship to that home planet with Indrid Cold was shared by UFO author Gray Barker. And while Darren Berger had described Cold as a benign space brother who offered healing medicine, later depictions cast him as more of an ultra-terrestrial or cryptid, sometimes sporting an uncanny, inhumanly large smile.
Oh, that's gross.
In his 1975 book, The Mothman Prophecies, Keel suggested that Cold was linked to Mothman reports in Point Pleasant, which began on November 15th, 1966, 13 days after Darren Berger's press conference. So this like grinning man, smiling man, injured cold thing happened 13 days before Mothman. So
That's a
which is
weird
creepy.
time for like lore
Yeah,
to drop.
I was like, oh, and he like so what happened is the boys, hold on, what date exactly was this? Point Pleasant began November 15th. So
The first like Mothman sighting, or
yeah. And the first sighting of this like entity was October 16th, 1966. That was the two boys, and that was in New Jersey. And then November 2nd is when Darren Berger said he saw him, and that was in Parkersburg, West Virginia. And then the first Mothman sighting happened a couple weeks later.
Wow.
In Pleasant Point, West Virginia, and then the third injured cold supposed sighting then happened in Pleasant Point, West Virginia.
But basically,
so
the only
that
Mothman
is kind of
sighting, right? Like he only appeared a couple times, if I recall.
I think so.
And like he doesn't have it. It's like you said when you taught me all about Mothman. He doesn't have any other guys. They talk about Bigfoot, but we know there's more than one, like Sasquatch or whatever.
Yeah.
This guy's like a solitary
like stuff did
guy.
say that there was like I think it was a little confusing. Like I think they talk about the three of these like grinning men or whatever as being the ones that have visited Earth, but like back on the home planet there's a lot more. But, yeah.
I hate
so,
that part.
Yeah.
Grinning men. No.
Yeah, it's creepy. And then so the hold on, I have to check his first name again. I don't have it. I only had it the once. Where is it?
Nobody cares about first names.
Oh, Woodrow. How could I forget a name like Woodrow?
Like Woodrow Wilson?
Woodrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kept thinking that every time I typed his name when I was typing this up yesterday, and then I totally forgot it. So Woodrow Darren Berger, he's the one that saw him. He passed away
quite a moniker.
Yeah, he passed away in 1990. It didn't say what of or anything like that. But a lot of the stuff I read did say that they believe that Injured Cold still visits West Virginia to this day, and that a lot of people in West Virginia are still saying that they see him visiting and like hanging around and like observing and stuff, but I don't have any other detailed sightings to go over. So
yeah,
that's it.
That's fine. I love
guess.
A creepy little guy. I just love, an alien sighting. Like a person or a humanoid somebody can't explain. Like, yeah, I love these kind of stories. They really like are freaky and also kind of cool because you're like, what if we did like get to talk to people from outer space? What
and
if
then
they
I was
were
like,
just kind of
Mothman.
Yes, and Mothman.
He was a friend of Mothman. No.
Friend of a friend.
And I just liked
Mothman could introduce us. Truly.
I just thoroughly enjoyed that in the one article I read that was talking about it, because I got some of my information from like the Cryptids fandom website thing.
Oh my god, there's a lot of good cryptid.
I think they literally they did a Wikipedia. The only picture they had for Mothman was that statue with like the abs and then the really firm butt.
Steel.
And I was just like, oh, that's the most hilarious if you were to pick only one picture to represent Mothman, that it's that big statue. Yeah. I think that's hilarious.
Where's the little cartoon Mothman? He's everywhere.
Yeah. Like, where's the cute? I have the little Mothman guy. I think the sticker you gave me of him on the little light bulb, and then the patch you gave me.
I'm working to make it your whole personality. Just like I told you, I might want to get a Loch Ness Monster tattoo because it's cryptids and it's Scottish.
Yeah.
And you know what? You didn't hate it, and Pat only balked a little bit. So I think it sounds kind of cool. Who cares?
I think he just needs a little tartan little hat and a little
Oh,
scarf.
the pork pie
Maybe a
type of
kilt.
hat. Yes. Oh my god.
Can he wear a little kilt? I don't know how to make that happen.
Oh no, now it's gonna have to incorporate Outlander, which she did see the Loch Ness Monster once in those books. Let me tell you.
Damn.
He'll be in the stone circles, just like in our logo, like this Bigfoot.
Oh yeah.
Oh my! Don't even get me started. I'm reading my recent favorite Will Trent book, which also has become a series on like ABC. So go check it out, you people that don't like books but like TV shows about cops and stuff. And she like they're in like Georgia or whatever. That's where the show is based, and they like go on this honeymoon. And she's like, "God, we're like walking around this resort at night, and I wish I hadn't watched or heard that Bigfoot podcast." And they put Big Space Foot as if it was like his proper name, and I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Is it like Mr. Foot?" It's not Bigfoot. It's Big, Space Foot. I was like, you are weirding me out the way you're spelling this. This is not right.
That was how whatever I was typing, one of the names or whatever, it was like, shouldn't there be a space here? And I was like, no. Oh, it was Mothman. It wanted me to put a space between moth and man. I was like, no.
How many times do I have to press add to dictionary for it to stop underlining squonk? Let me tell you. It's a lot.
I just hit always ignore. Ignore all.
I know.
Ignore.
That should have... Anyway. If they're not all like capitalized, it will only ignore the the lowercase ones.
Yeah. It's like, oh, this one's got an apostrophe S. I'm not going to ignore that one. You got to do those separately.
Oh my god, that reminds me of a thing I read on Reddit where they were like a hack that most people don't know, and it was like it's how to like copy and paste, but it's not just like Control V. It's like something that makes all the text and the fonts go the same and like the same size when you like copy it. And I was like, that would be actually really handy for if like I'm copying something from notes and it's in like a completely different like size and font from like my notes. Anyway, I was like,
see, I just go like after I get all my sources ready and everything's good to go, I just go like select all and then just pick the font I want and then the size.
Right, because I think you have a tendency to like put your like more quotes and stuff in first, where I'll like, I don't know, write a few bullet points and then like add some. I don't know what we do. I just know we do it.
I just hate trying to read on a website when it's got like ads popping up and shit. So I'm copying and pasting everything from the website and putting it into a Word document so I can just look at what is written and not like all these ads where it's saying you have one article left. That's like, well.
Yes, I find that it's hard when the copy and pasting comes in.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you got all the fucking ads and stuff highlighted. You're like, I didn't want to copy and paste that. Yeah. It's stupid.
Yeah.
All right, well, we will stop this one. That is at least part 1, and we'll be right back.
Are you tired of hearing about the Ted Bundys and Jeffrey Dahmers on True Crime Podcasts? I thought so. We've got something just for you. I'm Pat.
And I'm Darcy, and we are the hosts of Pod of Terror, a true crime podcast that dives into lesser-known cases from around the world.
Grab a glass of wine and join us every Thursday as we discuss the most vile, despicable human beings on the planet.
It'll be a dark and twisted journey, so don't forget your drink. You're gonna need it.
We're looking forward to seeing you next Thursday.
Shit, what was I gonna say? Yeah, we watched that, and then I know we were trying to wait out and watch it in the theaters, the Final Destinations, but then I was like, I got paid this week, and they were like, well, it's already. Pat was like, I can already like buy it on Xbox,
I know.
and I was like, oh,
that's the thing.
I guess we'll watch it here. Yeah,
it's you basically have like 2 weeks or maximum a month to try and see something in theaters.
I know. I
Like,
thought
it's
it came
so
out like
hard.
when Sinners came out, and I was like, I'm sure like I can take Rain to it this month or something. Like we all wanted to go see
Yeah.
it, like in theaters,
Yeah.
but I think I just missed it.
Yeah, it's like stupid.
But anyway, I guess now we own it. If you haven't seen it yet, we can watch it.
No, I haven't yet.
It was pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Shrouds, that other horror movie, that was questionable.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay, I picked some funny sounding. I liked some of the funny named cryptids. Yeah, I don't know. We'll start with the Ugwug, who comes from the same province I do. He's from New Brunswick. He resides around the Reversing Falls in St. John, New Brunswick, in fact.
Have we talked about the Ugwug?
I feel like he may have come up in a mention. Like, because you know when we do the ones where, like, cryptids by air, sea, forest, whatever, I'm like,
yeah,
I know I've touched on a few in some of those where I didn't, like, talk about them a lot. So, yeah, like, he sounded familiar to me, too, also, but I didn't remember.
Okay.
So if you guys don't remember, I'll give you a quick rundown, I guess. Sorry if we have talked about him and like you guys have that trap of a memory, steel trap memory.
Yeah.
He appears in St. John, New Brunswick, where the severe tides cause the river to literally change directional flow twice a day. Which is just kind of cool. That's why they call it the Reversing Falls. It's a fun feature of us having the highest tides in the world in the Maritime provinces. So,
okay.
It kind of explains that the Reversing Falls is a unique phenomenon created by the collision of the Bay of Fundy and the St. John River. So at low tide, the river empties into the bay, causing a series of rapids and whirlpools. And as tides rise, they slow the river current for a brief period called slack tide. So they push up against the current and like stop it. The bay's tides continue to rise, gradually reversing the flow of the river. Rapids form again, peaking at high tide, and an 8.5 meter, 28-foot tide cycle is roughly 12.5 hours. So it gets pretty crazy, I guess. Most rivers don't empty into a bay and then like the sea pushes them back up again, but I guess that's what happens with this one.
Weird.
I know, I always knew it was called like the reversing tides, but I didn't really understand. Or the reversing falls, because it's like a waterfall. And like these cliffs. Since the 1950s, there have been tales of the creature that lives there. He's said to live in the sea-carved caves. God, I love a sea cave. Next time I go back home, I'm taking some pictures. We were at like high tide last time we were in St. Andrews by the sea, and it was like, oh no, the sea caves are all full of water. We can't get in there unless we like kayak, you know? I just want to go and like take some pictures. And yeah, he's described as a seal salmon hybrid, which does sound kind of gross when you think about it.
Ew, yeah.
Because salmons are ugly, but seals I think are beautiful. They're my favorite animal.
It could be much cuter with a different
face.
Yeah.
Well, did I upload the folder yet? Because they did make a CBC, a Canadian Broadcasting Company, show about it where he kind of looks like this purple fur seal, and he's called the Ugwug, and he makes friends with a girl, called Ariel. Go figure.
Little Mermaid.
Yeah, I think I found a picture of it when I was doing my research and may have included it. But like he looks like picture like Barney, but like a big old fur seal Loch Ness monster thing. Just like purple haired. I was like, oh, this looks fun.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
Is the folder up there?
Yeah, it's just got like the front part of its face, though.
Yes, I didn't see a whole body. Doesn't look like a salmon to me in that. I think they made it look more palatable and kid friendly.
Yeah.
But there's some other like drawings. So since the 1950s, there have been tales of the creature. Seal salmon hybrid can be up to 30 meters in length and cuts through the fog in a creepy way, I would imagine. One quote said, "The Ugwug is a mysterious creature that lives in the caves beneath the surface of the Reversing Falls," said history buff and former St. Johnner Francis Hellier. A handful of written sources variously claim that the creature is an old Inuit legend and that the story dates all the way back to the Champlain era.
Wow.
It is funny that it comes up that, like, it might be an Inuit legend where that's people that live in
Like,
much northern Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That comes up a lot where they're like, well, this name could come from this, but they're like, I don't know why it would, since we're in like southern Canada, so to speak.
As Southerners.
Exactly. That's what they called us. I remember when we did that other episode when there was a bunch from the north in the hospital there.
Yeah.
Legend holds the creature is about 30 meters long, half salmon, half seal, and you can see it in the spring when the moon is full and the tide is out, Hellier said. Others have embellished the story with details about the monster's big red eyes and a quote-unquote massive appetite. Don't love that. Sometimes it's even seen walking on land, which would make sense if it has a seal's sort of flippers, I guess. But
yeah, this one picture looks crazy. It's got like crazy webbed feet and then like fins on its back, and its face looks like a snake.
Oh, really? Okay, now I
don't know. It looks like it has pinchers. It looks like it has pinchers in front of its face. Like some sort of spider. I don't know. There's a lot going on.
Oh, yeah. I remember finding that one too, where it was like ugwugs and there's like, the webbed feet.
16 different animals. Yeah, that one's confusing me. I'm like, where's the seal? Where's the salmon in this picture? It looks like
and sometimes
so many
I'm
things.
like, it's like, it's a platypus, or like what they think when they see animals like that. We were just watching Gravity Falls episode again the other day, and she sees this like carnival creature, and she's like, I don't know if it's a panda or a duck, but I want it, or something like that. And I was like, it's a platypus.
Oh no.
They're the weirdest creatures. They look like cryptids. Come on.
It's like up until a couple years ago, my brother didn't believe that narwhals existed. He thought they were made up for like the Elf movie.
Yes,
and then I was like, no, they exist. It's not just a cartoon character for the Elf movie. Like,
they're just crazy looking.
I had to look up pictures of narwhals and show it to him. I was like, my brother is in his mid-30s and he didn't know narwhals were real. It's like, this is great.
Like, Travis, today I learned narwhals are real.
Yeah, not just invented by Will Ferrell and somebody else. I went, hi, buddy.
Pixar, but that's
I hope
not
you
right.
find your dad. That's what he said.
Such a good movie. No, I feel like I've seen posts like that. Yeah, it always makes me laugh. Because they do seem insane, like unicorns.
Yeah, just crazy. Some animals. Yeah, platypus is one of them too. That's also kind of weird. And like anteaters.
Yeah. These weird water creatures. Why do I have one that looks like a hammerhead? Why do I have one that's called a sperm whale and has a bunch of weird oil or not sperm in its head. Don't get me started. Okay, I'm almost done with this weird Ugwug. So it is weird that sometimes it's even seen walking on land. I don't even know if I said that, but like, yeah, he could be a weird platypus hybrid.
I have a Gordo now.
Baby. A number of strange tales are related in a typewritten essay by David D. Archibald circa the 1950s, tucked away in the vertical files of the St. John Free Public Library. One man is said to have seen it and died of fright shortly after without speaking of it. Not great.
Then how did they know he saw it if he didn't speak of it?
He was terrified. That's all I know.
Whatever that supernatural episode is that Dean gets so afraid of everything.
I think they call it commonly the ghost sickness one, where he like opens the locker and it's like a cat or something and just like screams bloody murder. Yeah.
And he's like, that was scary.
Yes.
Or that little chihuahua or whatever chasing him. It's like,
is it?
I think that's the
there's
same
one show
episode.
where
It's like a tiny dog.
Yeah, like a Pomeranian, maybe?
Something.
No,
and it's
I don't know.
a teeny tiny dog, and he's like, I was getting chased by a beast or something.
Oh,
And
yeah,
you're like,
yeah,
yeah, sure.
Okay, never mind. I swear there's one where they have to pick, like, between door number 1, number 2, and number 3. And, like, number 2 is, like, a Pomeranian who doesn't look scary. I don't know if this is supernatural now. I can't remember. But they're like, oh, a Pomeranian. That doesn't seem scary. But then they pick it and it's, like, super scary. But now I can't remember which that one is. Okay.
Gordo's, like, pushing back his head against me so hard.
Oh! He does kind of look like he's posing. He's like, can you see me? I'm right in front of the camera. There's my face. Oh, but Fenrir does lean into it if I like scratch his neck. He really loves it. Okay, this one's almost done. Another story describes how a man drowned in Lawler Lake, which was, quote, a body of water reported to be bottomless along present-day Rothesay Road. And his body was found weeks later on a ledge in the limestone gorge at the falls. Which is weird, because if he was drowned in a lake, how did he get to the falls? But Archibald theorized that there are underwater caverns which extend for many miles from one place to another. I don't know. Underwater
Weird.
and underground stuff just is always freaky. He called it a strange amphibian creature noticed by hunters when it was following in the wake of the fish. And then there was a quote, strange because of its resemblance to both a salmon and a seal, and amphibious because, becoming quite friendly with them, it would occasionally venture from its ocean lair and sit on the banks of the river basin.
That would be so creepy to see something crawl out of the ocean.
I know, I'm like, amphibians, okay. I like can picture like a frog when it's like half a tadpole still, right? Where it's got a little like tail. Like they can crawl out of the water. But it looks weird.
Yeah.
Because of this affinity for both land and humans, the Eskimo christened the birds.
Oh, I heard that bird.
Sorry. Probably magpies or one of those loud ones. God, I don't even know how to say this word. Equinoxical visitor.
I have no idea.
The equinoxical visitor Ugwug, meaning the friendly animal. It goes on to say, Ugwug, Archibald writes, is still found in the lower basin below the whirlpools. God, I'm sorry, the birds.
The birds are singing. Are you Snow White?
They're like literally right outside my door, and now I have my window open because it's hot in here. We frequently birdwatch from our back window, so I can't say that we discourage them from coming around.
Yeah, same with my yard.
I don't know what they're doing out there right now, but the fucking squirrel the other day, like he'll go and eat from the bird feeder, and sometimes Pat would be like, "Oh, the squirrel's eating," and I'm like, "I mean, leave him alone. He's a squirrel. They gotta eat as much as the birds, right?" But
yeah,
the squirrel is like so funny sometimes. He'll be like, "Now stop if he thinks you see he sees you or you see him," and he's like a statue, and then like
yeah.
it's like, "Okay, buddy." Oh, what was I gonna say? And then yeah, sometimes you're like, "Yeah, okay," but he's just like, "What?" I don't know. He's silly. Oh, he was doing his chittering thing. I guess that's what it was. Where like squirrels make a weird like. He was making like a chittering noise, and he was looking inside the big window and doing it, and his whole body was like chirping. He's like, "Shh." I'm like, "What are you saying? Like, come eat it from our bird feeder?" You're like making the loudest noise, but you're like right outside the window when you're doing it.
Oh, weird.
It is weird. It's weird to see squirrels doing things where you can like see them right outside the window, like you're in an experiment. Anyway. So yeah, these guys the ugwugs you can only see at certain times in the spring, if the tide is on the ebb. Or an evening full of moonlight and a court full of moonshine, said one quote, which I thought was kind of funny. It was like, "Court full of moonshine, you might be seeing anything you want."
Yeah, that's what proof are we talking? Like,
right?
it can get up there. It can get up there real high.
"The tide must be on the ebb. Remember that time and tide wait for no man, and there are two other essential ingredients: an evening full of moonlight and a court full of moonshine. After all necessities have been given proper attention, the ugwug will appear." But other than that, and like some of the images are attributed to him where it looks like he's kind of a giant like head for a sea creature, but other than that, there's mention of other cryptids and lake monsters in the area, which I was like, fair. I've never heard this guy, and I'm from New Brunswick. But every stupid lake has a monster. There's also another cryptid, maybe, who's mentioned by Samuel de Champlain, which is probably who they name all the Champlain places after. But he was like an explorer guy. Samuel de Champlain collected a legend about the Goo-Goo. Don't know if I'm saying that right. A creature found in the warm water in the north of the province that could swallow a ship in one bite, said St. John storyteller David Gose. Yeah.
That's got to be a big creature.
Right? Like, are you the Kraken? But he also said there's no link between the Goo-Goo and the reversing falls. Says you. Some do say it could be made up by the reversing falls trading post guy who first talked about it to David D. Archibald. Like maybe he kind of made this up as a tourist, attraction. But this guy was considered a, quote, local authority on the falls kind of lore, like from the area. And he died in 1959. They took down the Ugwug mural shortly after. I was like,
oh no.
Just because this guy's into the Ugwug doesn't mean he's making it up. Yeah, apparently there's a CBC show where he meets a child named Ariel. I think I mentioned that. He kind of looks like a purple Barney.
Yeah. It's very purple.
Very purple. It looks cute though. He has like little seal ears. I don't know. Maybe I can find it and watch it. But they often refer to the Lake Utopia cryptid, who may be even more real. We don't know. His stories go back to the mid-19th century, so like, 1850s, I guess. 100 years prior to the Ugwug. And we meet this cryptid who is often referred to just as Old Ned.
Okay.
He's the Lake Utopia
Gordo.
monster, located in Charlotte County, branching off the Macadavitt River. Which is fun to say, because it's also spelled ridiculously like Magaguadega.
Oh no.
I love knowing how to pronounce things that are like in the, local lore. Like anytime somebody covers Mandy the doll, which I think you covered, but she's from British Columbia, from a place that you don't pronounce the S, it's Quesnel, but it's spelled Quesnel. So anybody that ever covers her is always like, the Quesnel Museum. And I'm like, just because it's in Canada, like, you could still Google the pronunciation.
Or one time, I'll never get over listening to a podcast and hearing somebody say Banff. And I was like, what?
Banff.
Banff. Banff. I was like,
Banff.
Banff. They're like, Banff.
You can make those noises with your
okay.
mouth. Yeah, just try it. Banff.
It's like, okay, cool. I'm like, yeah, I'm not great at pronouncing stuff. Sometimes I have to just go, I know how this word is pronounced, and if I try and pronounce it while I'm reading the word, like spelled out, I can't do it. I have to just say the word and pretend I'm not looking at it at the same time, because I will pronounce it wrong if I'm looking at it.
Well, you do almost have to Google everything, like just the case in point, it's called Quesnel, but you wouldn't know it's a silent S. Because fucking English has so many stupid silent everythings that, like, before I moved out west, did I know that it was pronounced Quesnel and not Quesnel? No, I did not. Did I know that it was pronounced Macadavic instead of Magwaguadavic? No.
Yeah.
It's tough. There's so many, like, native influence names. Anyway, but I feel bad, because then you try to cover something and then someone pronounces it wrong, and then everybody comes at you in the comments, and, like, whatever.
Yeah.
You do your best.
It's hard, and sometimes you look up pronunciation, all you got is, like, AI robot people, like, telling you the voice, and you're just like, oh, great, well, that wasn't helpful, because that wasn't a real person.
Exactly. Like, say it's not a mainstream fucking language, even if it's, like, Celtic, like Gaelic, whatever. That can be, like, so fucking hard. And that's supposedly still English.
Gordo, you are being such a little attention sock right
now. Almost done. Old Ned's fame began way back in the late 1700s, when the local Mi'kmaq passed on the story of a group of native hunters who were being chased in their canoes by a gigantic lake creature to the newly arrived Europeans. Sorry, I didn't write that part. If this was intended as a way to keep the newcomers away from the lake fishing, it didn't work. No sooner did word spread than fishermen from the nearby townships began trying to catch themselves a sea monster. They set out in boats onto the lake, of course, stringing baited hand lines and giant nets, but to no avail. It seemed old Ned wasn't interested in meeting his new neighbors just yet. Mostly described 20 to 30 feet long, he'd rear his ugly head and show his sharp teeth with a head the size of an old-fashioned bathtub. Or sometimes nowadays he's cited as having a horse-sized head. And some say he has dark red scales. A few specific incidents, like 1867, some sawmill employees watched as something eel-like rolled repeatedly in the water near the center of Lake Utopia. No pictures.
No, there is a picture of Lake Utopia, though. Looks nice.
No, there was actually a couple good, like, drawings of that one, which I'm like, how is this one, like, more well-known than the Ugwug? I don't know. 1982, a worker from a nearby paper mill outside in his break saw a large creature surface like a submarine with water spilling down its sides. The witness could see only a hump, or maybe a section of the body of a huge eel, which then quickly disappeared back into the lake. And finally, for him in 1996, a group out canoeing on Lake Utopia followed a creature measuring 30 to 40 feet as it swam just underneath the surface. It was noted that the movements were up and down and not side to side as most eels would swim. And
Like a dolphin.
that's the
Dolphins
overlord.
swim. They swim up and down, don't they?
They do all kinds of things. They are super smart. So, the Squonk. I have mentioned this one. I don't know if we've talked about it on the pod, but I think he has a funny name, and I've heard about him on other podcasts. I will tell you which one I get confused this one with, but this one is a cryptid of a very retiring disposition, which is a unique way of describing something. So very Victorian.
Yeah, I don't even know what that means.
Retiring? I was gonna say.
Puts you to sleep?
Either. Yeah, really though? He is very slow, so maybe. He's generally traveling at about twilight and dusk, and because of its misfitting skin, which is covered with warts and moles, it is always unhappy.
Oh no, yeah, this one picture looks like it's crying.
It's super sad. It's the saddest cryptid.
No. It's like Eeyore.
It is! It's like a wrinkly...
Squonk.
It's like Eeyore had a baby with like the... What are the
pug
dogs called? Yeah. No, they're
Are they pugs? No, not pugs.
No, my ex had one. He called it Maximilian or something. I think, wrinkly dogs. Sharpays, something like that.
Oh, so cute though.
He has so much skin, this guy.
Yeah, he looks like a wrinkly little crying, like, I don't know, a pig or something.
Yes, he's very pig-like. I thought we had talked about it before, but I think I've just heard about him on other podcasts. Anyway, I think I might have been confusing him with one who's like, also kind of creepy looking, but looks more like a moose. So, that's not this guy. This guy's got lots of skin. Yeah, he's like a Sharpei. He's a wrinkled dog. He's misfitting skin, covered in warts and moles. He's always unhappy. So he's the disposition of a teenager on his parents are getting divorced.
Going through puberty. And you don't even understand me, Mom.
You
can't understand what I'm going through.
It's like he wants to be sad. You can literally hunt him and follow him by his tear-stained trail.
No! That's the most depressing thing I've ever heard.
Right? Follow the tears.
Yeah.
When
don't
cornered,
hunt it if it's crying.
Oh, just wait. When escape seems impossible or when surprised and frightened, it may even dissolve itself in tears. So it just becomes a puddle of tears.
Jesus.
So emo, I know.
Yeah. Have you ever wanted to melt into a puddle of your own tears?
Puddle of Tears, the Puddle of Mud cover band. He's described as a small pig-like animal with an ugly appearance, ill-fitting, warty skin, and possibly webbed feet. Yes, and as I mentioned, their signature move, when frightened or cornered, the Squonk dissolves completely into a puddle of its own tears.
Great defense mechanism.
But why me?
I'm dying.
The Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think my D&D character can make itself turn into water. Jesus.
Yeah.
But some stories even mention saltwater bubbles forming where it once stood, as if the animal's sorrow became its escape mechanism.
Oh, that's so sad.
So like,
this whole one is so
let
sad.
me harvest the salt.
Yeah.
Apparently they're found especially around the Pocono Mountains and Mont Alto. These cold forested areas with their freezing temperatures and thick tree cover provide the solitude The Squonk craves. Let me just do that in my David Attenborough voice.
It's just a sad little emo pig.
He's so gross. I was like, I have to get some of these pictures.
I know some of these are pretty great. Like I'm just looking at this one of it, and you can see the full on tears underneath its eyes.
Oh my god!
It looks like
I went to one
he
source.
has grass growing on the top of his head.
One source was like too much almost. I was like, oh, the Cryptid Atlas or something like that, and I was like, oh, you're like a YouTube. And then she was like, she had a big fake tear in her eye. I was like, I don't know if I can watch this. I'm trying to get real information. Anyway, but you like it the same thing over and over again. Like, oh, making me cry. That's what we'll do to our YouTube. We will cartoonize everything and animate.
No, I think right now it's just set to do like our episode thumbnail automatically.
I know. My goal is to one day have us have some like, you know, videos where we're like, you can see the videos of us recording and whatnot. Okay, so finally in 1996, a group out canoeing on Lake Utopia followed a creature measuring 30 to 40 feet. Did I say this? Sorry. Just sounded familiar. It was noted that the movements were up and down and not side to side as most eels would swim.
Yeah, that was for
that was
the other one?
Yeah. No, you're right. I finished the Ugwug and we started on the Squonk. You're right. I am. Confusion. Yes, Puddle of Tears. First documented in early lumberjack folklore collections. I think that was the book, The Guys of the Lumberwoods in 1910, but also mentioned in a Paul Bunyan book in 1937, which I was like, oh, Babe the Blue Ox is one of the first folklore I ever heard of. They are nocturnal. They mournfully cry at night. They may also avoid reflective surfaces due to their low self-esteem and their basic body dysmorphia.
Oh my god. They just sound more depressing the more you say about them.
It's like a teenager, like, what is it? Manifested a cryptid? Like, what is it? They have a tulpa.
Yeah.
And they make a new one. They're like, God, I can't stand myself. He's very relatable, though. Strangely enough, I found out they were featured in Steely Dan's 1974 song called Any Major Dude Will Tell You.
What?
That's the title. Any Major Dude Will Tell You. And they have a brief mention of the Squonk's tears. And also, in the Genesis song, which I haven't heard on Supernatural, so I forgot they were an 80s band, but Genesis has a song called simply Squonk on their album A Trick of the Tail, which was like from 1976. So they had an entire Squonk song.
Oh, wow. That's weird.
I know. It's so bizarre. They have something in science called a chemical squonk, but it was so complicated I literally like left my body trying to read the definition. And just the legends of the Squonk and things appeared sort of in the 19th century at the height of Pennsylvania's importance in the timber and hunting industry. So kind of like those other weird ones where they pop up around the lumber yards and the lumber woods and the timber.
Yeah.
I forget what the fuck they call them, companies or whatever. That's where they pop up. And oh yeah, and then also, did you know that the Pukwudgies, that was you know how Hogwarts has their like different houses? So they had the American one. They mentioned the American school Ilvermorny, and they had a Pukwudgie house.
Oh my god.
They did.
That's weird.
I love it. I love a little mention somewhere here and there. But yeah, that was...
I guess they had like
Yeah.
Well, they have is it the lion? Is it like the lion Gryffindor? And there's a serpent for Slytherin?
Yeah, like a griffin is kind of a folklorish creature, really. It's not quite a lion,
Yeah.
even. Yeah. I definitely like
Okay.
their takes on
So
things.
that sort of makes
Really
sense
cute.
to have like a cryptid for the American ones, then I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. Sometimes they have some pretty good details, even though obviously we may not obviously agree with the writer on all things.
Yeah.
But that's unfortunate. People write some good things and they don't have good opinions. It just happens sometimes.
No. I heard something recently that said that she was pushing so hard for them to do the new show and everything so that they could release a whole bunch of merchandise that she hasn't wanted to release because people have noticed since she like came out with her views and everything, and then like a lot of the original cast like stood opposed to her and stuff, that almost all of the merchandise that they've been releasing hasn't had any of the characters' faces on it. It's all just like generic stuff, and that she doesn't have to pay any licensing fees to them if their faces or likeness doesn't appear on the merchandise.
Oh my god.
So that's why like
so stupid.
There's been a notable decline in the amount of times that like the cast's face has appeared on any merchandise since like they stood against her and like said they didn't agree with what she was saying, and that this big push for the new show is so that she can release a whole bunch of merchandise with characters' faces and stuff on it again. Yeah, because it'll be a new cast.
I want to see a new like show in that realm, but like not for her benefit. That's for sure.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We'll
just, like,
see.
you don't have
I
anything
feel
good
like
to say. Like, don't say anything. I don't know. She just seems
right.
like dumb that way.
It would have been so easy for her to, I don't know, like not say anything, but she keeps like donating to really bad like charities and like supporting really bad people. So
yeah,
she's keeps standing firm. It's not like she's saying, "Oh, I went to therapy and addressed because of my own like sexual assault how I felt uncomfortable in bathrooms or something." Yeah. Because that's what she's saying it's because of. At the beginning, that's what she was saying, is because she was sexually assaulted, that she doesn't feel comfortable that people that transition from male to female should be allowed to be in female bathrooms because that's a man in a women's bathroom, and I was assaulted by a man once, and I don't want to be in an enclosed space with a man.
See, I don't remember.
That's what she was saying.
I did remember trying to give her the benefit of the doubt and reading the like essay she wrote to be like, okay, I don't just want people to tell me that she's anti-trans and just for me to like believe that. You know what I mean? Like, I just wanted to read some stuff, like what she said for myself.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It wasn't great. I don't remember it being like trans people shouldn't exist, but I do remember. Yeah, it's like some of the stuff that different people bring up where they're like, you know, sports and how does this affect this and that, and you're like, yeah, okay, but like it affects people's lives in the way that they want to, you know, feel comfortable living as they feel they are.
Right.
And so that's a bigger issue. And like, I get that. And I don't know. It's just fucking weird sometimes. I'm like,
yeah.
I get, I don't know. Yeah. Oh, it's so hard to talk about stuff. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I get you having concerns about sports. I get people talking about things like that. It's fine to talk about things, but like also at the same time, if people feel like they don't feel okay to exist, just the way that we've oppressed like gay people and everybody else in the past, and that's just obviously really problematic and not cool. And shouldn't be the way.
Yeah, because there's stuff that like people can figure out, like bathrooms. You can set up bathrooms that are, instead of having an enclosed door that swings closed, you're walking around a hallway, so at least there's a couple walls and it's open, and then have just the stalls and the sinks and have all that kind of stuff where just, like it's
I feel like
not
that's something we've just gotten so uptight about.
Like really or have family rooms where any more rooms available that are one stall or that like a family can use, or that somebody that's transgender can use, or somebody that's not comfortable using a yeah, like gendered bathroom, they could use a family room if there was more family rooms. Like,
oh yeah, if it's just like I remember back in the day, you saw a handicap stall, you're like, yeah, I can get in here. Probably not all people are using it. I'm not saying that's right to go in like you're like, oh, let's have sex in the handicap stall, but there should be some stalls that people can just use, right? Like,
yeah, like there's ways to figure it out without you.
Yeah.
And then she came out recently saying a whole thing about how like all the labels that a bunch of the labels people are trying to use, that they're all just made up and they don't exist, and all this stuff, and people are just
was that
confused.
when they like ruled something in Britain and they were like, oh, by the way, being a woman is like being born a biological woman or something, and she was like, yeah. And I was like, God
that
damn.
too, but this was like
It was
after
something.
that too. I can't remember.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I was
this
just
was
like,
like
way to
after
double
it. She
down.
did something else. Yeah, she's been doubling down for years. So I don't know. I don't like Nick Frost, one of the people. I think he is on to play Dumbledore. I don't like that because I really like him. Yeah, and I don't like
you
that
do
he
like
signed
him,
on,
so
and
you don't like that he might be in it.
Yeah, and then he was like, "Oh, I received some backlash and stuff, and I understand why people would get concerned, but I'm continuing on," or something. And it was like, "Well,
but really,
well, you're going to be making her millions of dollars, so congrats, I guess, because look at the kind of charities and things she's funding with that money." Like,
I know, but even that I kind of like take umbrage with. Pardon my Dolores pun, but it's like, I don't know. There's just so many things that we listen to and we watch, and that we're like, we don't consider what the person's political views were, and if they were a good person. A lot of times they're not. And it just seems like nowadays, I get it. I get it. It's like nowadays, if we can know how people are, then we can be like more, apt to boycott them or whatever because we don't get along with their views. And I get that. I don't know. It just sucks to me sometimes. I'll be like, hear somebody talking about Harry Potter on a podcast, and it feels to me like they feel like they have to be like, but by the way, I don't support J.K. Rowling. It's like, okay, you just mentioned a book. Like, we don't assume, like, I don't know. Like, there's so many uncomfortable authors that wrote apparent classics that we still teach in schools and stuff, and we're not like, but by the way, the authors kind of might have sucked at explaining stereotypes. Like, we just don't.
Sometimes they do, but not always.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's plenty of
You're
other people out there fighting tooth and nail to get their shit published or their TV shows made that doesn't need to be a rehashing of the same story 15 different times.
No,
I'm getting tired of everything all the time. Remake, prequel, sequel, constant.
Yeah.
It's just, okay, where's the new stuff? Like,
that can be annoying. Exactly. It can be.
Yeah.
And then I'll watch something and be like, okay, well, this is fine. It's like, oh, it's based on a book. Well, that's why. No.
Yeah. You're like, okay, well, at least this was like something, maybe. Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
it's
I don't know.
weird. I did start watching Bridgerton, which is not completely like historically accurate, but has some elements of like wanting to include some non-white people, so it's kind of fun because it's a Shonda Rhimes kind of thing. Anyway, it's like, probably would have been a lot more people included in your high society if you didn't only allow whites at that time. So it's kind of like a different way of like looking at it. It can be fun to like reimagine things with a different lens. I don't know. Not really seen that kind of thing before, but history.
Anyway, what are we doing next week? Do you have it in front of you?
Oh, I guess we're doing something more themed to our Southern friends because it will be come out on July 4th. So that would be the American Independence Day. I think we'll do some American Revolution themed cases. Because don't you know, according to Good Pods, we're the second topmost history podcast.
Yeah, sure.
Hey man, I guess when you don't market yourself good enough, they market for you. I thought we were true crime and paranormal. I literally had to say, I have to leave book club. I got to jet. I got to go home and like make a podcast. And somebody was like, what? I was like, oh, we got to record.
Yeah.
What you think about? I was like, like true crime and paranormal. Yeah. Anyway, bye. Half the time people ask about it, they don't really care. So it's just
I've had
oh no.
I don't know, a lot of the people at my work that have asked me to write down the name and everything for them. So like those people I feel like are actually gonna look up.
Yes. Yeah, especially because Castles and Cryptids is not easy to spell. So good for us. So, yeah, it's nice when they ask.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's cool. And they never tell me that if they're listening or anything. So I'm like, if you're out there, hello, my coworkers.
Fuckers. Recommend it, why don't you?
Yeah, please do.
We're the best, bitches. A little side of history, a little paranormal true crime. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And as we said, starting July, we're going to be doing every second week. So after the 4th, we'll be back on the 18th. Yeah, on the 18th.
Yes, we're going to slip into a little bit of a summer schedule to ease our workload. So, yeah, I think you guys won't mind, and we love you for that.
Yeah.
That should be good. So I guess next time, yes, what do we say? American bullshit. No.
Right after Canada Day.
Hell yeah. We Canadian, bitch. Okay. All right.
All right. Until next time.
Yes. Keep it cryptic.
Bye-bye. I lost a chapstick to the abyss. Oh, I just found it.
R.I.P.
It's one in the back corner of the drawer. I haven't seen in like a year. I like this one.
Now the magpies are singing.
I can't hear anything, so.
Good.
Turn this
down. All right.
Darkcast
So
Network. Indie pods with a dark side.
Ever to pee so bad you get like bored. Pictures. You're like, oh my god, am I done yet?